Episode number 49, Quincy Market Wildcat Strike, 1957. In 1957, I was a year out of high school and floating around directionless. I knew I was a born salesman, however, and I managed to talk myself into a driver salesman's job at a Quincy Market small meat packer, founded by a German immigrant who was called Baldo Quality Meats. I was much younger than all the other salesmen. The building was located in one of those 18th century dilapidated industrial buildings in the wholesale food market area. I knew almost nothing about sausage or meat. Baldo made very high quality German type frankfurters, as well as knockwurst, kielbasa, liverwurst, bologna, salami, mortadella, olive loaf, hot red sauces, which is a black person's specialty for the Roxbury market, and other types of sausage. In addition, they distributed imported Genoa salami, imported hams, provolone, and other cheeses. Their flavorful hot dogs were a big seller. Baldo's main competitor, Maple Leaf, was also located in Quincy Market, and it made bland products in comparison. Baldo's main account was Howard Johnson's. The legend was that when Howard Johnson opened his original stand in Wollaston Beach in Quincy, the only meat packer who would give him credit was Fred Baldo, the founder. So through the years, as Howard Johnson's became a national chain, he continued to buy Baldo's frankfurters 10 to a pound. A driver salesman would call on supermarkets, butcher shops, restaurants, and sandwich shops on a prescribed route. My route included Worcester, Lawrence, Methuen, Lowell, and environs. There were 6 driver salesmen with different routes. We loaded up our truck starting at 6 a.m. and were gone by 6:30 or so. Before going to Baldo, I would pick up my truck just down the street from the old Boston Garden at a multi-level garage. Incidentally, this garage at my truck's parking spot was the scene of the infamous Brinks armored car robbery just a few years prior. One early and dark morning, I arrived before the other drivers, and a wildcat strike of sausage makers was in progress, blocking the front door and the loading area. I was 18 years old. My father was a union man and a Democrat, but I leaned right politically. But my goal that day was to get onto my route without getting into trouble. At that time, I was politically an Ayn Randist and against unions. Baldo was a non-union shop, so I backed my truck in and then crossed right through the picket line into the service area where drivers would check out with scales and paperwork. That breaking of a picket line is a mortal sin to union folks, but I did not know that. Catcalls, profanities, and boos were thrown at me by the strikers, many of them older women who formerly thought I was just a cute young kid. While that was happening, another driver, Harold Bluestein, arrived and backed his truck next to mine. I remember Harold because he once told me his brother was married to Cardinal Cushing's sister. Harold was Jewish, and that kind of ethnic and religious family mixing was rare in 50s Boston. I had begun to load my truck with my previously ordered 10-pound boxes of frankfurters. After I had loaded my truck, breaking through the picket line many times to do so, I went back inside to sign off on my load and get my sales book and my written orders. The sales book was about 10 inches by 12 inches with aluminum covers and closures. As I was walking in the dark space between Bluestein's and my truck to drive off, 2 swarthy, hatless goons in short black leather jackets surprised me. One of them pulled my arms down by my sides from behind, and the other, a short and stocky man, began to punch my face. I still had the metal sales book in my hand, and because I was much taller than the man punching me, I was able to swing the book in with my wrist and hit the puncher in his face with the sharp corners. I was also causing a ruckus by shouting loudly. I leaned forward quickly and broke away from the goon holding me and escaped into the service area. I did not get away unscathed, however. They had broken one of my teeth and I was bleeding from my mouth and my nose. I immediately called my father from the office phone. He hadn't left yet for work. He quizzed me They'd told me to stay put and that he would be there soon. The cops showed up, questioned everyone but the culprits who had already fled, of course. Harold Bluestein had also been beaten, knocked down, and stomped on by the same goons. He was hurt badly and was in the hospital for many days. A little later, both Dad and my brother Gary showed up with 3 lead pipes about 18 inches long, wrapped in newspaper. Each of us took a pipe, and Dad led the way toward nearby Hanover Street in the North End. I had told Dad that one of the guys I was able to see, the puncher, was probably Italian, so we were heading to the nearest Italian neighborhood. I'm sure 3 angry 6-foot Irishmen with pipes walking down Hanover Street at 7:30 in the morning looking angry was quite a picture. By the way, as you will see, political correctness had not yet shown its smarmy face. Dad would see a guy on the street and grab him, roughly turn him around so I could see him and say, "Is this that Guinea bastard?" I would say no and would walk further. He'd pick out another unlucky guy, turn him toward me and say, "Is this the dirty wop son of a bitch?" Dad picked out maybe 10 possible goons, but neither we nor the police, using more bureaucratic and less direct methods, ever did find the SOBs who beat me up. Throughout my life, I had little sympathy for unions, and from that experience, I also learned to never expect my employers to provide loyalty or protection either. I learned many other hard lessons from that experience also. Thank you for viewing or listening to my podcast episode. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, and if you so choose, I ask you to send a good review and perhaps refer friends who might be interested in this podcast series. Again, my thanks.